My name is Christopher Gunnis. I'm the spokesperson for UNRWA, and we are in the UNRWA headquarters in Jerusalem. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency is a refugee agency which essentially looks after, brings relief and social services, health, education, microfinance to Palestine refugees. 1948, the Middle East War, about 750,000 Palestinians are either forced out or flee the fighting. They leave their homes. In the December of 1949, the General Assembly votes into existence an organisation which is supposed to be temporary. UNRWA is brought into existence and mandated to go and do emergency relief, essentially. We start operations on the 1st of May 1950, but it becomes apparent very quickly that there is going to be no quick resolution of the refugee crisis. So UNRWA, in its first decade or so, moves very quickly from doing emergency work to schools, health, human development. We very quickly became a human development agency. The biggest need at the moment is reconstruction, because more than 6 months after the war in Gaza, we've not been able to get any building materials into Gaza. 58,000 refugee homes were either damaged or destroyed. Our facilities were damaged or destroyed. There is a huge need for building materials in Gaza. People are living in desperately squalid situations. Many have taken refuge with families. Many are living outside their homes in tents by day and going back into these semi-destroyed structures by night. We have schools that need to be rebuilt. Schools are going back in Gaza. We have 221 schools in Gaza, educating some 200,000 children. These children are going to go back for the beginning of the next school year with schools which would be unacceptable anywhere else in the world. So the most important thing we need now is building materials into Gaza. The blockade is now in its 3rd year. Israel simply has to realise that it is not in her interest to have a blockade in which 1.5 million people are, according to the words of many diplomats, UN officials and statesmen around the world, is effectively a collective punishment. I think it's important for all Americans to know that hope and dignity for the next generation in Gaza, and this is the generation that could bring peace and could buy into peace, peace which the American administration is, thank goodness, so richly and so robustly pursuing, that in Gaza, that next generation is slowly being disenfranchised and being isolated. And if you have a job market where there's 44% unemployment, if you have a blockade now in its 3rd year, if you have a war in which 1,400 people were killed, that generation runs the risk of becoming very radicalised, and radicalised people do not make good partners for peace. And what the people in Gaza I talk to dearly want is to have a sense of dignity and peace and security and stability and prosperity, and America has a historic opportunity to bring some of these things about in Gaza.